Hey y'all. So God said it's testimony time. So it's testimony time. Um April 3rd, 2023. I had just came back from North Carolina and my daughter's father had came over to my house and he was standing at the door and I just thought that we was gonna kick it, that he was gonna come over, but he had stopped at the door, didn't even cross the threshold, y'all. And, he was just standing there like, I'm thinking we gonna kick it, watch a movie, whatever. He's like, we can't be together, you know, pretty much to sum it up. He had broke up with me. Um, and I had just came to terms with the fact that I was going to try to make it work. Like we were together, but not together. We had broken up, maybe the May before, so had almost been almost a year, but we was still, kicking it or whatever. Y'all know how that go. But I had made the decision when I was down in Charlotte in North Carolina that when I came back, I was going to try to make it work this time. Like I was going to be 10 toes down and, really try to get this relationship together and, be real serious with this man. And when he broke up with me, it kind of like crushed me because I had came to the realization that I was going to try to make it work. But looking back on it now, I really was doing that because I had a fear of being alone. I had a fear of being by myself. I didn't really know how to be by myself because I was in a relationship prior to the one that I'm currently talking that I was, in. Um, and then I had jumped into this, relationship with him about maybe 7, 8 months later. So I never really had a significant period of time where I was not in a relationship, in my adulthood. And every time I would get out of a relationship, I would tell God, like, God, well, it's me and you. I'm going to get serious. I'm going to focus on you. I'm really going to, get back into my relationship with you, blah, blah, and never do it. And this time, though, God really met me because this relationship, um, I remember one time I was sitting on the back porch when we were staying together, and I had came home after a 12-hour shift at work, and I was sitting on the back porch in the summertime, and I was, drinking, and all of a sudden I just start really like speaking in tongues, not even really understanding why I was doing what I was doing. But at this point I was kind of really miserable in the relationship and I wanted a way out. And it was crazy that, those thoughts and everything started coming back to me after he had broke up with me. Like, Tamisha, this is stuff that you had really been praying for, that you really wanted. But when it presented itself, I wasn't ready because I wanted to hold on because I had a fear of, not having anybody. I had a fear of like really being by myself and having to look at who I was. I really didn't want to have to look in the mirror. I didn't really want to have to um, really examine who Tamisha really was. And, that was scary. But the very next day, um, and I don't care what y'all say about Bishop Granddad, that's TD Jakes, so y'all know. But he had a sermon called Holding Patterns that I watched, and it blessed me so much. I was in my bedroom, and I had an encounter with the Lord that changed my life forever. I just remember really coming to terms with the fact that I wasn't who I thought I was, and that I was living this false identity, living this false lifestyle. And I had always knew that the life that I was living wasn't for me. I always knew that I was different, but I always wanted to be like everybody else because I wasn't ready to take on that being set apart. I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to be looked at, like, oh, that's that church girl. So I always wanted to be able to just do what I wanted. And I ignored the call many, many times. But that day, April 4th, he met me in my room. And I remember getting on my knees, sobbing and crying. I remember praising God like I never praised him before. I remember being so vulnerable and giving him my truth in that moment. And I remember telling him, like, I surrender my all to you. I surrender myself to you. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if I don't, really want to be by myself. But I know I'm not by myself because you're with me. And I know you're going to help me get through all of this. And then after that, I remember like maybe a couple days later, I called a friend of mine and I was like, I need you to be a witness. I'm calling you on the phone because I started getting rid of all of my, worldly items, everything that, he gave me or any, gifts or anything that I had from any relationships prior. I threw away. I threw everything away. I put it in the garbage. I called him and I said, you can come get this stuff, because he had given me a really nice designer bag and some stuff that, and I was like, you can take this. You can give it to whoever you want to give it to, but this can't be in my house. And I remember him asking me, like, are you sure? Like, you don't want it? Like, I gave this to you. I'm like, nope, you got to take it. You got to take it or I'm going to throw it away. And I don't want to throw it away. You could bless somebody else with it, you know. And then I remember throwing away a lot of my adult stuff, and throwing that stuff away. A lot of, fantasy books. I was into a lot of, like vampires, witches, and, all those type of books, threw all that stuff away. And from there, God has really, accelerated my life. But I say all this to say that for the individual that was like me, that was afraid or is afraid to be by themselves, you are not alone. You are not by yourself. God said he would never leave you nor forsake you. And if you surrender all to him, if you surrender yourself to him, lay yourself down on the altar, give him you. And I promise you, you will be able to pull through. It has been, what now? Since it's December 2024, we're about to go in 2025. It's been over a year and some, coming on 2 years. And it's been the best time of my life. I have had, some struggles in between, but God has met me and kept me through it all. So be encouraged. If God is telling you to let something go, let it go. If God is giving you an exit, if he's giving you an exodus, leave. Take it. Okay? Don't be calling that man or that woman back, trying to get back with them and all. Let them go. Okay? Be encouraged. Have a blessed one.